Hi there, welcome to the Jagman and welcome to our first review. Today we're going to be reviewing the Digi Dash 4.0. So we're actually one of the first people to actually get a 4.0 from the production line to review. Look and feel exactly the same as Digi Dash 3.0. Again, you know, looking at the box, looking at everything, looking at the unit, it's exactly the same as the 3.0. I think the difference comes from within. So, as you can see, very quick, very responsive. Usually from a cold startup, it's about 15 to 20 seconds from pressing your ignition to the unit starting up. So we're recording this in a Jaguar I-Pace. Obviously one of the things it's got is, or one that my pet hates, was it doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So we've tried in the past quite a few different Android Auto boxes and Apple boxes to try and see how that would work, and the frustration we've had is very much around the box whilst we're driving would stop working. So you have to pull out the USB, plug it back in again, and then it boots up and then works, or it doesn't boot up upon initiation. As you can see, calling works. So yes, so basically the whole setup is that this is an Android box. It's not a Apple CarPlay box, Android Auto box, although it has that functionality. This is a separate, I would say, mini PC, which brings the Android tablet features to your whole screen. So as long as you've got a wired Apple CarPlay system, this will work. So whether you're using USB 1 or USB-C, it will actually work. So when it fires up, this is the screen you'll see. So you've obviously got the time and the date. You've got miles per hour. Now playing, which fires directly into whatever you use to play your music. And also you've got some smart features here, which you can choose whatever those are to be. So you can change those around whatever you want to be. You've then got your navigation. We've changed it away from Google Maps and we put it to Waze, mainly because we prefer using Waze for navigation. Down here is your last used icons, so all your applications. And you've got the all applications buttons here. If you tap, you've actually got the Android button, which you can choose, go to home, go back, choose all the applications you were in. So you can close them down or close individuals down, voice search, clean up, and so on. So we will just go in and go through the apps. What we've got in our setup is that we've got our Digi Dash box. We've also got an SD card, so we put a 1 terabyte micro SD card. We've also then got a SD SIM card inside. So we got a 4G, or it's actually a 5G enabled SIM card, so voice and data through Vodafone. With this, what we've got is what functionality that actually gives us is that we can make telephone calls out directly from the SIM card, so you don't need to connect it to your phone. You can also do messaging, so you can send messages directly from the unit itself, and do it from there. What we've done is we've enabled these so we can make telephone calls directly from our phone, and it pulls the contacts from whatever account you've linked into. So we've set up a Google account and linked our car account into that, and then we added all of our contacts, so all of our contacts come into here. We've also got basically the whole setup, so you can have an email or whatever on there. So we've just done it for the contacts, so I can easily go in there and click telephone and make a telephone call out using the SIM from inside the unit, which means it leaves your line completely free. What we did as well is just hide the number or block the number. And when we've blocked the number, obviously people won't then suddenly see, oh, it's actually a different number, and change your numbers. So it works, and it works well. You can of course use your own telephone. So if you've linked your mobile device, Android or Apple, directly to your unit, you can actually click BT, so Bluetooth phone, and you can actually start making phone calls directly from your own phone. And you can obviously receive calls, as you just saw, as well as obviously making them. And you've got obviously your contact lists, etc. So works very well. So that's your Bluetooth phone and your telephone, and then, as I said, SMS messaging. You can send a message directly from there, which is really good. And what you can also do is do a Find My Phone to your SIM card, and obviously you can track your phone. Although we've got tracking already in this eyepiece, it gives it a second layer to think, oh, actually I know where my phone is, where the car is, and what's going on. So that's obviously from your telephone side. Gallery we don't use. Contacts, as I mentioned. As I said, it has got Apple CarPlay and it has got Android Auto. So should you really wish to, you can actually use it for that feature. To be honest, I don't know why anyone would need to. It's obviously your own personal preference. But this box is a standalone box. So basically, you download all of your applications like you would on your phone, like you would on your tablet, download it directly to this Digi Box. And then what you can do via the Play Store, so you can have TV, music, games, you name it, Instagram, you can put your shopping on there, etc. So waiting for your kids, or you're waiting for EV charging, and you can then respond to emails. So you can put your email on there, connect maybe a little miniature keyboard or mouse, and you can respond to emails and everything else all via this unit. So it makes it very, very much of a versatile unit. And so yeah, as I mentioned, you've got your games, you've got Audible, you've got books, and so on. So going into settings, so going through here, dragging down, so you've got Wi-Fi, so you can connect to a Wi-Fi hotspot. So should you be parked near home and you want to do some of your updates, but you don't want to use your data SIM, or you don't want to use the connectivity from your phone, what you can do is just connect via your home Wi-Fi and do any updates you want from there. As I mentioned, we're using a 4G voice and data SIM from Vodafone. I'm not trying to plug them. Other networks do actually work as well. But we've just got ours through there, and it works. As I mentioned, what you can have is, if you put your SIM card in there, you can then use this box for hotspot and tethering. So should you not have the option within your car to have a personal hotspot in your car, you can just turn this on, and then your kids can use their tablets or phones or whatever, and it doesn't take the data from your own phone. And that really works well. Bluetooth, as I mentioned, what you can have is, so this device kindly sent from Digi Box is a remote control. So your passenger can easily use remote, saves leaning forward. Really, as I said, it's in fact quite lazy. Or your kids can have it in the back of the car, so if they want to start controlling music. But what they can do as well is, at the back of the Digi Box there's a VGA output, and you can actually connect that with maybe some units at the back, some screens at the back that have VGA output, or input, so you can then start playing Netflix and everything else onto the screens and project them to the screens in the back of the car, whilst you're still using your output here, so it won't really input. So as I said, screen, but you can use a mouse, which these are basically classed as a mouse. You can also use a keyboard and attach a keyboard, so if you're there waiting for the kids, waiting for your EV to charge, you can easily just respond to emails or whatever and log directly into there. Application info just tells you more about the application. Language, you can obviously change your language, date and time. Video definition, so you can choose what type of resolution you want. So do you want 4K, or do you want to actually set it to lower to make sure there's no lag, especially obviously you going to some areas where they haven't got maybe a strong 4G signal. Navigation setup, it's basically what do you want to set your navigation to. So are you going to be using Waze, or are you going to be using Google? Voice assist, so you can turn voice assist on. We didn't because we don't really need it. Launcher style, so what's the flash screen when it first comes up? We just keeps the standard style. Boot up app, that's set, usually is nothing, but we have it as Spotify because whenever we go in the car, that's the first thing that we actually want to log into. So it comes up on the screen and we play it. Miles speed unit, so you can have miles per hour, kilometers an hour, whichever you choose. So it's quite easy to change. This floating button, so basically double tap. No, it would help if I double tap somewhere else. No, that isn't. So this is some of the setup from here, and this talks about the SD card, etc. There you go. So going along here, this is the Android menus. So do you want the floating button on, and do you want it enabled, yes or no? We've left it enabled because it's just easier. I'm not an Android man, I fully admit. We've got Apple everywhere in the house, but I have found this feature to be quite easy. Obviously talking about our Google accounts and normal accounts, and this is basically where everything is set up. Going into more, this basically goes everything from your security, your privacy, talks about your storage. So we can see here that the internal storage is 64 gigabytes. We've actually put the microSD of 1 terabyte. And what we use that for mainly is storing things like our music on. So for us personally, it's put all of our Spotify offline, because if there are places like if we're going in the Eurotunnel or something like that, we can actually have our music and we don't have to worry that it's cutting out, etc. And there's no signal. You can obviously put on there movies or download any of your Netflix TV shows, etc. And that can go directly on there, no problem. As I mentioned, so talking about your account, so we logged in via Google, so that pulls all the Google details directly down. What we did from ours, as I mentioned, was that we basically set up a Google account specifically for this car, logged everything in for this, so it keeps its own account, and it's worked, and it's worked well. So going to the main menu, so you can see the apps. So as I mentioned, Bluetooth telephone. You've got Maps, which is Google Maps. So you can go in here, as you see, quite responsive. Yes, turn on, location history, and that will obviously tie in with our Google account. So you can then use that if you should wish to use as your map application. Home takes you back to the Jaguar menu or other vehicles, depending on what you have. APK installer is if there's a application, an Android application that you wish to install that actually you may not have, or it may not be in the Play Store. It's actually, you can easily upload it from there. BT Music is Bluetooth music, very similar to your Bluetooth telephone. You can actually play any music that you've got stored directly on your telephone. Telephone is pulling the telephone directly from the Android box. So this is all these people I've actually added from my Google account as contacts, and it's pulled them directly in, and I can actually call them from there. As I mentioned, I put a caller ID blocker on it, so people don't know that I'm calling directly from the car's account. Bluetooth, obviously, phone is pulling it directly from your phone and your phone's contacts. So yes, you can go into Google, CarPlay, Play Store, and messaging is obviously the SMS within the car. As you can see, very quick, very easy, very slick. So going into the movies and the videos, so you can play YouTube, very quick, as you can see, opens up seamlessly. You've got Amazon Prime, you've got Netflix. Again, very quick, very good, and easy to use. So looking at some of these, so if I touch on one of these, can't play for long, or obviously There you go.
The sun is shining, we've got a bucket full of treats, there are animals everywhere. Life doesn't get much better than this.
And have we got a treat in store for you? Because over the next...
So as you can see, very good, very crisp quality. You can, as I said, it's got full 4K quality, which you can change or you can make less or more. And you've got your whole of your Amazon. So that was playing with not even a full bars of 4G. So that's half bars of 4G. You can see how quickly it is and how quickly it uses or it comes in. So going back, Disney, exactly the same. One thing we were disappointed in that didn't work was Sky Q. Being a Sky customer, we'd really like to have seen Sky being enabled for here, but it wouldn't work. But one thing that would work was our IPTV. So whatever subscription you pay for within IPTV, it will pull through here. So whether you've got the football or whatever it is you want to watch, it'll come here again very quickly. Very similar to Netflix and YouTube. Clicks in and you can watch it, and there's no lag, no buffering. Again, it depends on the strength of your signal, but as I said, you know, we've got between half to a quarter of 4G signal and it's very good. Audible, obviously for your long car journeys, really useful. VLC, so if you put some on your SIM card, sorry, not your SIM card, on your SD card, you actually put some movies on there, you would obviously view them directly from the VLC. GPS test, so this is really good. So this will basically tell you how many satellites you can connect to. So this shows that we've got a 3D fix. So we've got five to six, one keeps popping up and down, or now 4, 5, and we've got a good GPS fix. So if you want to just use a GPS from the box itself, it works. We personally prefer the 4G because I think it gives a little bit better quality of GPS than maybe the inbuilt. But as you can see here, it's actually got a very good strength, very good signal. And you can see things like the satellites, exactly where you are in the world, accuracy, so on and so forth. So moving back, obviously YouTube Music, Waze, and our favourite Spotify. So what we've done, as I mentioned, is we've put an SD card or a micro SD card in. And that micro SD card is 1 terabyte. Obviously some of it's used for the application itself, but that gives us 953.5 gigabytes worth of storage space for either movies, if you want to put movies, or audible books, or as we use is music. So what we found with Spotify is you know, when we're driving our car, one thing we love is to have the music in, and we've got a variety of tastes. So I've got a wonderful 8-year-old son, and his music choice very similar to mine, but completely different to his mum's. So we've got a big wide range of choice. So using Spotify, it's usually, oh, can we have this? No, we want this, and the usual squabble. So we wanted to have a big wide range of music within the car. We've tried to use the Jaguar's in-apps Spotify account, but we found the sound within the unit itself but sounded very flat, very monotone, not crisp at all. We tried to go into the settings within In Control in Spotify, and it didn't really change very much. When we were using the different devices for Apple CarPlay, we found the sound quality was so much better. The units themselves weren't great. As I mentioned, they drop out and you have to keep reinstalling them or unplugging them and plugging them back in again, which is something we've not had to do with this Digi Box. But what we found is the sound quality from this, in my opinion, is so much better from this box than even Apple CarPlay. And the only reason I can think of is that it's obviously all stored on this little mini computer, the Digi Box, and that is plugged directly in via USB from the Digi Box, so USB-C directly into USB 1 or USB-A, into the car and through, so you're not losing any type of sound quality at all. And I must say, having the Meridian 3D sound system through this Spotify, putting them on here is absolutely fantastic. And what we've done as well is just enable so things like download quality. So high quality uses more disk space. We don't care. We've got 1 terabyte. Don't mean to gloat, but Wi-Fi streaming as well, and or cellular streaming, put on very high for all of them. And because they're on very high, as I said, the sound quality is absolutely amazing. You can put obviously your apps on, sorry, your songs and your library. Don't judge us, please. But you can put all your library on from your mobile phone. So if you log into the same account, you can basically put in all the apps you want. So as soon as it goes in, or you go into your car, it's already displayed on here. So again, saving you so many times in the car. Do it. The only problem is if you want to put them store them onto your disk or onto the card, you have to then go in individually to say, yes, I want to download this and I want to store it directly onto our card. This will take, as I said, be quite slow because we've got a quite slowish 4G signal. As you can see up here, you see when it starts kicking in and when it's downloading, etc. So yeah, that will then directly download to the card and you then won't have an issue. But this is a very similar layout should you have an Apple tablet, so whether it's an iPad or whether you've got an Android. So it's obviously very similar type of layout in terms of Spotify, but we're very, very happy with that. So in all, so how would we rate the whole system itself? Well, I really like the fact of it's got a voice and data SIM, and we utilize that quite a lot, and it's very reliable, and the sound quality is good. We've had no dropouts or Daleks or anything like that whilst talking on there. Quality of applications, very good. As I say, it's a shame that Sky Q didn't work, but with IPTV being in, it doesn't really make any difference. We can still watch TV, so that's really not a problem. And the applications we've got in there are very similar to it being on a phone. We're pleased that we're not having to rely on our phone, that it's actually in there. So the good thing for this is, should I go in the car, should my son go in the car, my wife be in the car, whoever, we've got the same screen, the whole same setup, and it's not different depending on whose phone it is, how you've set up your Apple CarPlay, to which applications, what you got logged in, so on and so forth. It's just there and it works, and we're really happy, really happy with that. Video quality, extremely good. We're really happy. The way that actually works is instantaneous, no lag, no problems at all. And as I said, music quality, I've spoken enough about that, but we're very pleased with that. And also Waze, Google, I'm not really very comfortable in using, only because occasionally it's actually taken me places or taken me a longer stretch or a longer way than I thought we should be going, and taking me places, especially at night when they've had road closures or junction changes around airports, and it'll just take me on a loop, whereas Waze will just take you the best way. It knows if there's any lane closures or road closures and will just reroute you. So we've been stung by Google in the past, so it's again our personal preference that we prefer Waze. So again, no lagging, not taking you the wrong route or anything else, so it works. Mainly I think probably because of the GPS and the chipset that they've actually got within this Digi Box 4.0. It's only got an Android 11, whereas some of the other units that are actually out at the moment are using Android 12, which obviously makes it that a few years down the line, will this unit then be out of date? Who knows? With regards to the support, so we've spoken to the guys at Digi Box numerous times about different questions, etc. And we were asking things like 4G signal, will you be going up to 5G anytime soon? And they're saying it's on their roadmap. Got no plans at the moment, but later on, yes, they probably will do. That will obviously take this into a different league, because how fast that will be via 5G, especially in certain areas. So that's really good. We had one problem in that the unit itself, we had questions around some of the things not working. So predominantly around, we had 0 and on there and kilometers an hour, and we couldn't actually change it to miles per hour, and we couldn't get it to work. They sent us an update. We installed the update, which worked, and it was worked a treat, apart from the data from our 4G SIM wouldn't work. We thought it was Vodafone cutting us off, because obviously we were downloading quite a bit of data to our SD card, so downloading all the albums. Within 3 days I think we used 20 gig, even though we had an unlimited card, and they said no, there's nothing on the system, you should all be working, only to find out it was actually the update that we'd put on here. So how they recommended we fix it was to do a factory reset. That did fix it, but it also meant that all of the applications that we had installed didn't work. We had to reinstall them, and when we did reinstall them, we then had to load them all up again. So really big pain in the backside. But having loaded them all back up again, it works a treat. It works as soon as you turn on the engine, it's there working. It's not a case of, oh, it's not working, having to unplug, replug, all that type of thing. No, it just works. So I would say, what would be my score for this? I'd probably say definitely an 8 out of 10. I'd like to have seen, especially in this day and age, on their newer model, so this is their new model that they've just released, a 5G SIM card integration, and the fact that it's on their roadmap and not going to be out on maybe the 5.0 is a bit of a shame. And it did leave a bad taste as well, the fact that with an update it's kind of stopped our 4G data functionality, which puts me off a little bit if there's any updates coming on. So thanks for listening to the Jagman review. Just as a as you can see, SIM card works. Just as a thing, what's happening in Jagman, so I'm going down to Devon next week, so I may do a quick review on how it actually worked and how the Jag actually worked, and for my EV experience going down there. Also, we are traveling over at the end of May to Wrocław in Poland, so we're doing a full EV trip, EV journey, and with that EV journey, it would be really interesting to see how that actually goes, because we've never driven such a long distance. So I believe it's going to be about between 17 to 19 hours drive from here in Hampshire over to Wrocław over in Poland. So we'll see how we find the EV charging, how everything goes from there, how everything goes from, oh, see, someone's really desperate to get hold of me. How the EV charging is going over there, and how, you know, did we have to wait long? Was it DC charging? Were we waiting there for an hour and a half each way, and so on and so forth? But that's coming up, and what we will be using is we'll be taking this unit with us, and we'll also be looking at another unit that we're due to be sent, very similar to this, that we can compare it against to see which is the better, which is more responsive. So far, hands down, this is better than any Apple CarPlay or Android Auto plugins that we've used. More reliable, more stable, so we'll see how the other unit compares, and maybe we'll go over there one way with one and one way the other, and be able to review that as well as our full EV experience. But again, thank you for listening to the Jagman. Hope you found this useful. Please click like and subscribe if you like this video. And even if you haven't liked this video, please like and subscribe us anyway. Feel free to put any comments down, and we'll try and get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you very much, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye.